This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Breaking news tonight, an air fire tanker has crashed while trying to put out a fire near Yosemite National Park. Park rangers are rushing to the scene.
Shocking allegations against a popular actor. Stephen Collins now under investigation for alleged child molestation.
So your mom shot your father, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
The 911 tapes released in the fatal shooting of Bell Gardens Mayor Daniel Crespo. Good evening. I'm Mark Brown, in for David Ona.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. We begin with that breaking news along the border of Yosemite National Park, where a California Department of Forestry firefighting plane has crashed. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell is live in the Satellite Center with the late breaking details. Amy?
Colleen, emergency crews have reached the scene and located the plane, but there's no word yet on what happened to the pilot. The plane went down in a remote area along the border of Yosemite National Park. The air tanker was assigned to the Dog Rock Fire, which is burning near Yosemite's Arch Rock. Now, this is video just in from that fire. It's in a very remote area of Mariposa County. The flames have burned through more than 150 acres of heavy timber in very steep terrain. There are dozens of teams of firefighters heading to the location to battle the blaze. The plane that went down is similar to this one. It's a California Department of Forestry Grumman S2 Turbo Firecat. It is often one of the first responders when air resources are called in to fight a fire, and it is considered to be fast and highly maneuverable in challenging conditions. The air tanker has a cruising speed of 300 miles an hour and can be loaded with 1,200 gallons of fire retardant. Its main purpose is for a fast initial attack and delivery of fire retardant on California wildfires, and that's exactly what it was doing today when it was dispatched to the Dog Rock Fire. Now, CAL FIRE has 26 of the Grumman S2T aircraft. All were former submarine hunters for the U.S. military and were converted to fire service. The fleet was built between 1954 and 1962. So once again, we are awaiting word on the status of the pilot. We understand that those planes normally carry only one person, the pilot, but there's a possibility that a trainee was on board. We'll follow the story and have more details on Eyewitness News at 11. Reporting live in the Satellite Center, Amy Powell, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Amy, thank you. And we have more breaking news to tell you about. This time it's a crash at the end of a police pursuit. Air 7 HD live over the scene. Here it is. This all came to an end here at Leffingwell and Scott in a LA County area near Whittier. Multiple ambulances were called to the scene. A number of people have been taken to the hospital, including a woman in handcuffs. It's believed she was the driver of the car being pursued by LA County Sheriff's deputies. Investigators say she crashed into another vehicle at this intersection, and that's what brought this pursuit to an end. The number of people injured and the extent of their injuries is not known, but again, we have seen a number of people transported from this pursuit via ambulance, including a woman in handcuffs. If we get any new details, we will, of course, bring them to you. Another big story tonight, actor Stephen Collins under investigation for alleged child molestation. This after an audio tape surfaced today. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has more on the accusations and how it's already affecting Collins' career.
He had played one of America's most cherished father figures, but the wife of Stephen Collins says in court papers that persona was nothing like the man she came to know. In these tapes published by TMZ, we hear a man that sounds like Collins allegedly confessed to exposing himself to 3 girls more than a decade ago, touching one of them.
It lasted a few seconds, and that was the last time anything ever.
What were the other girls' names? I want their first and last name.
I don't know his last name.
According to NYPD, they received a report of alleged molestation in 2012. It accused Collins of forcing a girl who was then 14 to commit a lewd act. That was in 1972. LAPD says it also received a report. A spokesman says, quote, "We opened an investigation in 2012 but found no victim in LA. We are looking at that case again and talking with the New York detectives today. So far, no victims in LA," unquote. The allegations also surfaced in court documents that Faye Grant filed last year. She says, quote, "Stephen had been living a secret life. In the presence of his therapist, Stephen admitted that he has engaged in a long-term pattern of sexually abusing minor children." Grant goes on to say, "I believe that Stephen used his celebrity status to engender the trust of families of the children he molested." In the tapes, a man that sounds like Collins speaks about the number of alleged incidents.
There was sister.
Sister who was 10 because she wrote me because she was 10. 10, 11, 12, around several years.
There were, I think, there were like 3 incidents over about 3 years.
Sources in New York say if Collins abused a child in the 70s, the cases would be beyond the statute of limitations. But Hollywood execs are not waiting for any legal finding. Up TV announced today it is pulling Seventh Heaven from its programming, and Collins will no longer be a player in the feature film Ted 2.
Collins is also an author. He published 2 novels in the 90s, both with strong sexual themes. His earnings for those novels is likely to come up in the divorce proceeding set to begin in November. Miriam Hernandez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A teacher at Jehu Middle School in Colton is facing felony drug charges. Authorities took him into custody today on charges of possessing heroin and smoking it near school grounds. Eyewitness News Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan reports.
Students say 29-year-old Kyle McKenzie is a 7th grade social studies teacher, one who is now on paid leave after being arrested at school this morning on drug charges.
With all this peer pressure going on, and then for a teacher to do it, that gets me so upset.
It's kind of shocking that it's happening in a junior high. You know, my kids go here.
That's not right, because what example we're going to give the kids?
The suspect is a teacher here at Jehu Middle School in Colton, which is part of the Rialto Unified School District. Colton police say they got a call from the school principal this morning reporting that someone saw one of the teachers smoking heroin. That's when police came to the school and confronted that teacher.
Our officers did believe he was under the influence of a narcotic, and he was determined to have heroin in his possession.
The Rialto Unified School District says notices will be going out to all parents in both English and Spanish, telling them about what happened.
This is an isolated incident. However, it's not going to be unlooked, and we are not going to ignore it. We are going to, in fact, it was another employee who acted as a good Samaritan in the morning and informed us, and that's how we have to find out.
Parents told us they're grateful that it was someone else working for the school district who reported the alleged crime to police.
Well, that's good. I mean, that there's teachers that will speak up and say something like that.
Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The school district says Kyle McKenzie is on paid leave right now, and that is standard procedure because charges have not technically been filed yet.
2 two-year-old brothers fell out of a second-story window at El Segundo Boulevard and Ocean Gate Avenue in Hawthorne. The boys are part of a set of triplets. Officials say they were taking a nap on their parents' bed next to a louvered window. They woke up, crawled through a gap that was left by missing window slats. The boys were rushed to a hospital, one of them in critical condition. The parents and 2 other children were home at the time.
He was up walking around, and I grabbed him and held him. Well, my wife grabbed him, and then I grabbed him from her and held him. Right. I know I wasn't supposed to touch him because he fell, but I didn't know what else to do but grab him. The one that was knocked out, that's the one I was worried about, and he's fine. He just have a contusion on his liver.
The Department of Children's Services and LA County Sheriffs are investigating.
We're hearing the 911 tapes in the fatal shooting of Bell Gardens Mayor Daniel Crespo. He was shot and killed by his wife in an apparent domestic dispute. Crespo's son is clearly distraught as he struggles to tell the 911 dispatcher about exactly what happened inside the family's home.
911. ¿Cuál es la emergencia?
After several seconds of more wailing, Daniel Crespo Jr. tells the 911 dispatcher what happened between his mother and father.
Hi, I have to report an emergency. My parents got in an argument and there's shots fired.
Where's your friend, the one that got shot? Where is he at?
That's my father. He's in the house. Okay, it wasn't my mom's fault.
Okay.
She was defending herself.
So your mom shot your father? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Where's your mom at?
She hurt me. She's on the floor dying. Okay, she hurt me.
The 911 call made around 2:30 on the afternoon of September 30th. 45-year-old Bell Gardens Mayor Daniel Crespo had been shot multiple times by his wife, Lavette. Sheriff investigators say there was a struggle inside the family home, and when their 19-year-old son tried to intervene, Lavette grabbed a gun and fired. Neighbors also heard the gunshots and quickly called 911.
Bell Gardens Place, Savon speaking. How can I help you? Yes, my neighbor helped me shot.
The Crespos were high school sweethearts, married 28 years. Homicide detectives are now looking into whether there was a history of domestic violence in the household. This is the last time Mayor Crespo presided over the Bell Garden City Council. Just over 1 week later, his son would be telling the 911 dispatcher about the deadly struggle.
Where's your mom at?
She's upstairs. She's crying. I told her.
Okay, that's fine. Where's the gun?
The gun is on the floor upstairs.
Okay.
Please get here.
The LA County Sheriff's Department says it is still investigating the case so far. No charges have been filed.
Dodger fans are talking about today's season-ending loss in St. Louis. Big Blue dropped Game 4 of the National League Division Series to the Cardinals, 3-2. For the Dodger faithful, it's a bitter pill to swallow.
St. Louis has fantastic players, but unfortunately we couldn't take the win. We're going home. I'm still going home happy. I'm a Dodger fan.
I was hoping for the win. I was trying to be at Game 5 doing the big, but guess what? These Dodgers acted up. Acted up on me tonight.
We will hear from the Dodgers themselves in post-game reaction. That's ahead in sports.
And up next, caught on camera, a cat burglar's laughable skills.
Plus, 3 young children left in a car in the midday heat. Their mother's under arrest, but not just for that. Plus this.
Whether you say somebody's not going to hurt you, people are getting shot by the police.
Is it another case of excessive force? Police in Indiana under fire after startling video is released.
Hi there, I'm Danny Romero. Looking at a few clouds moving in. Will it change your weather around for the week ahead? I'll tell you with a 7-day coming up in just a bit.
Oscar winner Jennifer Lawrence speaks out on that nude photo hacking scandal. I'm George Pinocchio. It's in tonight's Hollywood Wrap. Plus, Bill Murray on his new movie. And a judge decides the fate of Miley Cyrus's date to the MTV Video Music Awards. Is he going to jail? That's next.
A Simi Valley mother faces charges of DUI and felony child endangerment, accused of leaving her 3 children in a hot car while taking her sick dog to the vet. Police arrested 28-year-old Amandra Woodruff. Authorities say all the windows in the car were rolled up. The kids, ages 1, 3, and 5, were showing signs of heat distress. Officers believe the children were locked in the car for at least 20 minutes.
It's my understanding that the youngest, the 1-year-old, was lethargic, had an increased temperature, so there were some obvious indications that the heat had already taken at least some medical toll on the children.
Scary to think that, there could be 3 children we'd be going to a funeral
hospital called police saying the mother told her dog needed help and she could not find her children.
Claims of police brutality erupting during a routine traffic stop over a seatbelt. All of it caught on camera by children inside the car. ABC's Steve Ostasami shows us the terrifying images.
Caught on tape, a family of four
Are you going to open the door?
on their way to see a dying mother stopped by police. And the officers with the heavy tool and the stun gun. Today in a statement, police explained that this all started with an alleged seatbelt violation. Rewind for a second.
All my windows is up. I feel like my life is in danger.
Lisa Mahone, off camera, is on the phone with 911 and hands the officer her license. But now they're demanding identification from her passenger, Jamal Jones. His only ID is a traffic citation, and when he reaches for it, police say in their statement that officers become concerned for their safety.
I was scared from the beginning.
The frightened family refuses to open the vehicle.
It felt like my civil rights was just thrown out the window, along with my body.
According to police, they were at all times acting in the interest of officer safety. But Lieutenant Patrick Vicari and Officer Charles Turner have been sued for excessive force before. Look closely. The needle from the stun gun is still stuck in Jones's back.
I told y'all my kids in the car, man.
Jones compares what happened to the shooting death of Michael Brown in Missouri. Since the unarmed teenager was killed, plenty of very reasonable African-American families have become more afraid of police interaction. In South Carolina last month, this man was just reaching for his wallet. And this was Tallahassee just last week. Hammond police deny any wrongdoing in this case and in each of the others, which they quietly settled for undisclosed amounts. Steve Ostasami, ABC News, Atlanta.
A federal judge has ruled that police in Ferguson, Missouri violated the Constitution when they told protesters they had to keep walking and couldn't stand still. The judge issued a preliminary injunction today forbidding law enforcement from carrying out that practice. Law enforcement agencies adopted the policy a few days after the protests began following the deadly police shooting of black teenager Michael Brown. The judge said police have the right to disperse protesters, restrict certain areas from protests, and use other lawful crowd control measures.
The search is on for a clumsy cat burglar in Washington state who fell off a roof. A surveillance camera caught the action. Security lights didn't ward off the would-be burglar as she looked for a way into the house and climbed onto the roof. When homeowners heard the footsteps above them, they banged on a window, scaring the suspect, who fell about 15 feet off to the ground. She quickly gets away and she ran. You saw. The homeowner says she may be walking with a limp.
Well, you know. Practice makes perfect. I'm not sure what the moral of that story is, but Danny Romero is here now, going to tell us what's going on with the weather.
You know, cooling down a little bit. I mean, relatively speaking, that 100-degree weather we had over the weekend, gone for now. Some nice 80s, still some warm spots, too. Let's go outside and see how things looking here. On a Tuesday night, we swing out to our Irvine Spectrum camera, and Orange County looking pretty good here on a Tuesday night. Less cloud cover right now. There will be more moving in tonight and during the early morning hours as well. To downtown LA we go. The skies here are partly cloudy now and certainly on the cool side. 75 degrees our temperature. Calm winds, 46% relative humidity, and a barometer that's on the rise. Numbers today give you an idea of some of the heat. There were some hot spots. San Gabriel and Calabasas to 96, as well as Santa Ana there, 97 Riverside. But Big Bear, very nice, 72 degrees there. Other spots showing you 90s in Ontario, Anaheim, and Santa Clarita at 96s and 93. Westwood just barely the 90-degree mark in Santa Monica. The cool on the coast, 71 degrees today. Here's what's keeping us a little bit cooler because we've now got this little bit onshore flow, a little trough of low pressure that's going to give us that onshore swing in the next couple of days. We're going to feel that cooler weather onshore, but what we will see by the end of the week and into the weekend, we're going to turn things around. Now, by Friday into Saturday, this regional high pressure moves in, and that gives us offshore flow and warming temps once again. Numbers tonight, 53 for Wrightwood, 65 for Redondo Beach, down to 51 in Lancaster. Ventura bottoms out at 59 degrees. Tomorrow, here's the high. Not real bad. Look at only 90 in the Northridge, 87 in Palmdale. Not a bad day. Clouds on the beaches, so 78 by the afternoon when the sun finally does come out. 88 for Ontario. We'll see a 90 in Riverside tomorrow now. 7-day power back weather shows you a pretty nice couple of days. 84 with morning clouds and fog at the beaches, sunny in the afternoon. 82s right about where they should be on Thursday and Friday, and then here comes the weekend. Warming up, drying out, back up to 88 by Sunday, even into Monday. Valleys and Inland Empire, Once again, a warm day tomorrow, but not quite 90, 89 for Wednesday, and then still around the 88, 89 range for Thursday and Friday. And then here comes the heat, the weekend, and some winds too, gusty winds at 25-mile, 35-mile-per-hour range as we head into Saturday and Sunday, staying mid-90s into Monday as well. Now the mountains, really nice there, except for this chance of showers tomorrow morning. Enough moisture in the air could break out a thunderstorm or two tomorrow, and then sunny and dry and through the rest of the week, a little bit of warming into the weekend, and winds kick up 70s for the highs. The mountains not bad at all. High desert areas will be fair to partly cloudy skies tomorrow, and 87s for the highs. A little drop down in numbers on Friday, and then by the weekend, here comes the warmth. We get up back near the 90s and those gusty winds, the 35-mile-per-hour range for the weekend as well. Colleen, Mark, go ahead.
All right, Danny, thank you. In tonight's Hollywood Wrap, Jennifer Lawrence speaking out.
Plus, a homeless young man who befriended Miley Cyrus has his day in court. Here's George Pinocchio with the details. George.
All right, we've been following this one since it happened. The once homeless man who went to the MTV Video Music Awards with Miley Cyrus has been sentenced to 6 months in jail. Jesse Health gained instant fame after he accepted an award on behalf of Cyrus and then gave a heartfelt speech about youth homelessness. After his moment in the spotlight, it was learned he had a record, including arrests and a parole violation. After today's sentencing in Dallas, Oregon, Health told the court, "I'd like to be viewed as a good person, not as a nuisance to society." Jennifer Lawrence is speaking out about her nude photo hacking scandal. The Oscar winner posed on the cover of Vanity Fair's November issue, which comes out October 14th. In the magazine, she says the hackers who stole her nude photos committed a sex crime, and anyone who looks at them is perpetuating a sexual offense. Lawrence says the pictures were for her boyfriend, actor Nicholas Hoult, and the hardest part was telling her dad. Apple acknowledged the hacking of several stars' accounts and announced plans to tighten online security. Another Jennifer, Garner this time, hit the red carpet outside the El Capitan Theater for the premiere of her new movie, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. She shares the screen with Steve Carell in the big screen version of the beloved children's book. They play parents to the title character, an 11-year-old played by young Australian actor Ed Oxenbould. They all experience a day that is a comedic calamity from beginning to end. It's in theaters on Friday. And in New York City, Bill Murray was all smiles on the red carpet for the premiere of his new movie, St. Vincent. Bill plays a cash-strapped veteran who begrudgingly takes a job looking after a neighbor's son. Not surprisingly, he is anything but an ideal babysitter. Once again, Murray plays a lovable curmudgeon.
We can all be a curmudgeon, and we just have to have the opportunity, and to have one as a daily, assignment, you could grow into it. You'd be surprised how easy it is to grow into the assignment of being a daily curmudgeon. The challenge of the guy is to show that he's more than just that.
The film also stars Melissa McCarthy and Naomi Watts and opens in limited release on Friday. And that is tonight's Hollywood Wrap. Coming up at 11, behind the scenes of the show Forever with the star Johan Griffith.
Okay, looking forward to that. George, thank you. Up next, some California beachgoers got a lot more excitement than they expected when they found a baby shark that had washed ashore. See what happened next.
And what a creepy clown is doing wandering the streets at night. A closer look straight ahead. Listen to this. What a reunion for an Oregon family and their dog Gracie. The Labradoodle was not on a leash in the Columbia Gorge when it wandered away, fell off a cliff, 200-foot cliff on Sunday. Her owner was certain the dog had died and even held a memorial service for her. Then early yesterday morning, a hiker heard Gracie at the bottom of the cliff. Rescuers were able to reach her and hoisted her to the top to safety. She only had a few scratches and bruises and will be okay.
Here's a beach rescue of the type you never saw on Baywatch. Check this out. A young salmon shark washed ashore on San Luis Obispo the other day. A woman captured the scene as a man tried to help it by picking it up and throwing it back into the water. Problem was, the little shark kept swimming back. This was at the Oceano Dunes State Beach. Salmon sharks are closely related to great whites, by the way, but thankfully they are not known for attacking people.
Well, we're updating the evening's top stories next to 8:30, including the latest on the air tanker plane crash in Yosemite National Park.
Plus, the search is on for a trio of suspects wanted for robbing a man in a busy local shopping mall. We'll show you where it happened.
And an urgent call from the FBI today, how they're going after people trying to join ISIS, now engaged in a fierce battle along the Syrian border.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30 is breaking news. An air tanker assigned to the Dog Rock fire crashes near Yosemite's National Park, Arch Rock. I am Colleen Sullivan.
I'm Mark Brown in for David Ono. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. The fire is in a very remote area of Mariposa County. The flames have burned through more than 150 acres of heavy timber and very steep terrain. There are dozens of teams of firefighters heading to the location to battle the fire. The entire fleet of California firefighting air tankers is now grounded as the investigation into the crash begins. Officials say the planes are normally only occupied by the pilot, but it is possible a trainee was on board as well. We'll have more on Eyewitness News at 11.
Actor Stephen Collins is under investigation for alleged child molestation after an audio tape surfaced today. The tapes were made by Faye Grant, his estranged wife. Collins was allegedly speaking to Grant and a therapist. New York police confirmed they are investigating allegations the actor molested a teenage girl in the early 1970s. The two cable television networks, Up TV and TV Guide, say they will not broadcast scheduled reruns of Collins' family series Seventh Heaven.
The search is on for 3 young men caught on surveillance camera robbing a man of his cell phone and roughing him up at the Westfield shopping mall in Culver City. Eyewitness News reporter Giovanna Lara has the video.
Watch closely and you can see the crime as it happens. One suspect grabs the victim's iPhone and takes off, the victim running after the suspect. Westfield Culver City Mall surveillance cameras captured it all up until the point the men run outside into the parking lot. That's when Culver City police say the crime turned violent.
The victim gave chase and attempted to retrieve his phone from the suspect, at which time he was attacked not only by the one suspect but by 2 other suspects and punched repeatedly in the face.
The victim was roughed up, but police say he suffered just minor injuries. It happened Saturday, 5:30 in the afternoon, when the mall is usually bustling with shoppers.
This is a very brazen crime, and we would, again, consider these individuals to be dangerous.
These are the 3 suspects police are now looking for. Their ages 15 to 25 years old. Police convinced if they're not caught soon, they will strike again.
Subjects like these aren't just doing this one time. They're out looking for victims all the time, and so we are seeking the help of the community. Anyone who has information on these suspects, please contact the Culver City Police Department.
Giovanna Lara, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Oxnard police take action after a man was mistakenly shot and killed in an officer-involved shooting. October 13 will be declared Community Safety and Anti-Violence Day in honor of 21-year-old Alfonso Limon Jr. In 2012, Limon Jr. was shot while jogging. Police mistook him for an armed suspect. Police want to try and prevent it from happening again.
We are committed to healing, process through the open and effective dialogue, and lastly, it is my hope, it is our hope, that by all of us working together in Alfonso Limon Jr.'s memory, that we will achieve that goal.
I don't think that there's ever going to be anything that's going to make a difference for us. There hasn't been any real accountability.
The family settled with the city for $6.7 million. All of the officers involved in the shooting were placed on paid administrative leave and are now back to work with the Oxnard Police Department.
New at 8, shocking video of 2 New York police officers beating a 16-year-old suspect. The surveillance video shows the 2 officers chasing marijuana suspect Kareem Tribble. After the teen stops running, one officer punches him in the face. Then, as Tribble raises his hands to surrender, the other officer hits him in the face with his gun, pistol whips him. Tribble suffered cracked teeth and bruises. One of the officers has been suspended without pay. The other has been placed on modified duty while an investigation is conducted. Tribble's attorney says she plans to file a lawsuit against the NYPD and the officers.
The Angels fan beaten in the parking lot after Friday's playoff game in Anaheim has been upgraded to good condition. 43-year-old Alex Arredondo is recovering at UC Irvine Medical Center in Orange. Detectives hope Arredondo can provide them with information to find the 3 men suspected in the beating. Authorities do not yet have a motive for the attack. A final farewell today for Covina police officer Jordan Corder. Family, friends, and law enforcement colleagues filled the Pomona First Baptist Church for his funeral. Corder was on duty last week when his motorcycle collided with an SUV. California Attorney General Kamala Harris was among those who eulogized Officer Corder.
Your son was taken far too soon, at just 28 years of age, but the ultimate sacrifice he made was in service of his community and his state and our nation.
Corder is survived by his wife and mother and father, who himself a retired Covina police captain.
The latest version of the ICE Predator app is designed to help catch child predators and rescue their victims. Users will get alerts on their smartphones about wanted predators. They can then share the information with friends via email or social media. The app also provides additional resources about Homeland Security and its global partners in the fight against child exploitation.
By getting that information very quickly to law enforcement, it enables us to go out and maybe make an arrest that we might not have been able to make as quickly as we'd like.
The latest version of the app is now available for Android smartphones and in Spanish for both Apple and Android versions.
Worries about the Ebola epidemic are growing in West Africa, the U.S., and Europe. Health officials in Omaha, Nebraska say they are now using an experimental drug on the journalist who contracted the disease in Liberia. It's the same experimental drug being used on an Ebola patient in Dallas, Texas. Today, we learned the U.S. Coast Guard plans to contact and intercept ships coming from Ebola-affected countries. A nurse in Spain has developed Ebola. Officials there want to euthanize the nurse's dog as a precaution to keep the illness from spreading.
The town of Kobani near the Syria-Turkey border is on the brink of being taken over by ISIS militants, and the FBI is asking for help to identify people who may be trying to join the terrorist army. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest developments.
Another day of fierce fighting on the Turkey-Syria border near the town of Kobani. The U.S.-led coalition has launched airstrikes there to help Kurdish forces, but ISIS continues to make gains. Turkey's president said that in recent weeks, more than 200,000 people have moved across the Syrian border, trying to escape the ISIS advance. Today, he said the town was on the verge of falling into the extremist hands. Crowds have been gathering at the border crossing, many trying to get into Syria to help defend Kobani. But Turkish police continue to fire tear gas to break them up. And here in the U.S., another example of what federal officials fear, a potential homegrown violent extremist. The FBI says 19-year-old Mohammed Hamza Khan of suburban Chicago was trying to join ISIS in Syria. He was charged yesterday with providing support to terrorists after being arrested Saturday night at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Khan was trying to board a plane for Austria, where he would connect on to Turkey. There he was to be smuggled into Syria to join the extremists. And today the FBI asked for the public's help in identifying people who've gone overseas to join terrorists, or people who may be planning to. U.S. officials are specifically looking for this man, seen in recent ISIS propaganda videos, including one where men are seen digging what will be their own graves.
Behind them you can see the officer's residence.
The FBI says that his accent sounded North American, and they're conducting an intense search to track him down.
Asking for the public's help shows just how concerned the FBI is about this man. If he's American, they want to know and they want to find him. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Vice President Joe Biden is in town and is backing a proposed minimum wage hike for the city of L.A. Today, 6 L.A. City Council members introduced an ordinance to increase the minimum wage to $13.25 an hour by 2017 and climbing to $15.25 an hour by 2019. The Vice President says an increase in the minimum wage would help millions of people without costing jobs.
It in and of itself will create new jobs. It will create new enterprises. And so the idea that somehow raising the minimum wage is in any way counterproductive, it just belies the facts.
They're going to have to cut hours, they're going to have to lay people off, they're going to have to raise prices significantly, or they may just move down the street into another city where they don't have to deal with these regulations.
The City Council would have to approve the proposal by a vote, but there should be plenty of debate before that happens.
Up next here, a young girl born in Panama under strange conditions. She wound up with 3 legs and 3 kidneys. She presented doctors here with some big challenges. Her amazing story when we come back.
And a closer look at that clown scaring residents in Kern County.
Why a closer look? Hi there, I'm Danny Romero, and yeah, there's clouds moving in now. What will it do to your morning? I'll tell you with a 7-day coming up in just a bit.
Local doctors make it possible for a little girl from Panama who was born as a conjoined twin to receive some very complex and life-changing surgery.
Our health specialist, Denise Tador, reports from Shriners Hospital for Children in Los Angeles with more on the good news for that little girl and her family.
She's tired and recovering from surgery, but 2-year-old Ana Paula is not afraid to make her needs known.
Siempre anda feliz y muy contenta.
She's always very happy. She's always singing. She likes to read.
Her mom, Ileana, says her spunk makes her a survivor. She was born with a conjoined twin.
Her twin was not quite as fully formed as Ana Paula, and so they knew, I think, going into her separation at 18 days of life that the twin would probably not survive.
72 hours after that separation surgery, Anna's heart stopped 3 times. She fought back, with her sister still very much a part of her. But 2 of Anna's 3 legs didn't function.
And then the execution, if it's done well, which in this case went just flawlessly, I think we had no problems.
After weeks of planning, surgeons at Shriners Hospital for Children removed her center leg, shortened her right one, and repositioned it to make it more functional. She's a first.
I see lots of very rare things at Shriners, but I've never seen anything like her.
In 6 weeks, doctors will remove her cast and fit her with a prosthesis, then teach her to walk. The organization Children of War, along with Shriners Hospital, is seeing to her long-term care.
We're overseeing her care outside of the hospital, her housing, her transportation, and we'll also continue to follow her when she returns to Panama.
Anna's mom says she sees big things in her daughter's future.
Va a ser un ejemplo para muchos niños y muchas.
I want her to be an example for other kids, and also being special is not a limitation for children. I want her to know, and she's going to be able to do so many things, many things.
Denise Tador, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Breaking news now in Tarzana. The LA Police Department has responded to a report of at least 1 gunshot at a home there. This is in the 5100 block of Chimeneas Avenue. That is near Lindley and Ventura Boulevard. LAPD has not entered the home yet. They can't confirm whether anyone has been injured or in some way injured by the gunshot that was fired there. But they are going to enter the home, we assume, shortly and find out what happened. Again, at least 1 gunshot fired in the 5100 block of Chimeneas Avenue in Tarzana.
A possible new round of red flag warnings in the 7-day forecast. Danny Romero has details next.
Plus, in sports, the Dodgers season ended earlier than they had hoped. Highlights from St. Louis coming up.
And for years, people have debated whether Orange County's great park really lives up to its name. We're going to show you the huge changes getting underway today to make sure everyone can agree the park truly is great. Up in the Kern County town of Wasco, there's a creepy clown roaming the streets at night. Residents in Wasco and the nearby town of Delano have reported seeing the clown recently. He even has his own Instagram page, and these are photos he posted in the last 24 hours, and he's already earned quite the following. Some people are trying to find him each night using clues he posts on Twitter and Facebook, but other people, we're assuming, would rather not bump into a scary-looking clown after dark. I think I'd be one of those people, but it is certainly kind of comfortable outside if you are clown shopping. I don't want to say hunting, so I was going to say, searching for the clown.
Clown searching.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess if you want to, you can go out there and find a clown. And it's a lunar eclipse tonight, too. It's like, maybe it's too little creepy for everybody. Let's go outside, take a look in here. On our Tuesday, we go out to our live shot to Burbank and the Valley, looking pretty clear right now as things shape up for a nice night in the valleys. As things cool down a little bit, a real break from that intense heat that we had over the weekend. Downtown LA, partly cloudy skies and temperature pretty mild, 75 degrees, calm winds, and 46% relative humidity. Today, temperature 93 downtown, 80 is the normal temp, so well above that average temp, but nowhere near a record. We'll see our sunrise tomorrow at 6:53. Full moon going on October 8th, and of course the lunar eclipse, all part of that. Of course, that lines up the moon, the sun, the earth, all there giving us the lunar eclipse tonight. Just after 3 a.m., you'll see that full lunar eclipse. No special glasses needed if you're up. You can look and enjoy it. And it is what's called a blood moon, too. We saw some pictures sent to us last time this happened to us. So at 3:25, you'll see this red tint to that moon in that lunar eclipse because of there's still some reflected sunrises and sunsets on that moon surface, giving you that reddish color. Now, here's some of the cooling going on in Southern California. Got a little trough of low pressure swinging onshore, that cool marine air, giving us some beach fog and clouds nights and mornings, reducing visibility in some spots, a dense fog advisory in some beach areas tomorrow morning. And then looking ahead, cooler temps until the weekend when it heats up once again. Here's our numbers tonight. Down to 65 in Pasadena, 55 for Palmdale. We'll get down to 59 in Ventura. And then tomorrow, another sunny, warm day inland, but not quite as hot. Only 87 for Lancaster and 90 for Northridge. 78 at Malibu once it clears out. We'll get to 88 in Pasadena, kind of a warm spot there, and a 90 for Riverside. Palm Springs, only 92. Not bad. Here's the temps now on the 7-day power back weather, showing you the clouds and the fog at the beach areas to start your mornings the next 3 days. And the temps slowly dropping down to about where they should be, close to anyway. 82 by Friday. But then here comes the weekend, warming right back up to mid to upper 80s by Sunday and Monday to 88 degrees. Valleys in the Inland Empire will be a warm, dry day tomorrow, but nowhere near as hot as those triple digits, and still staying 80s, 89 for Friday, and by Saturday and Sunday, here comes the heat again, but again, not quite as intense. We'll add some winds to the mix, 25, 35 mile per hour gusts through the weekend, and the mountains. With moisture in the air, a slight chance of showers tomorrow, but then sunny and dry into the weekend, slowly rising temps to the 70s through Saturday and Sunday with some gutsy winds going on as well. The high desert will be fair skies, for a few clouds move in a little bit, and then we'll see temps go from 87 down to 84 in the desert. Not bad, but by the weekend, warming up to 88 and then 90s, taking us into Sunday and Monday with those winds gusting to 35 miles per hour as well. Hopefully no clowns in your forecast. That's scary ones anyway. Mark.
All right. Well, we know there isn't a World Series in the forecast for L.A. After watching FCL Puig struggle throughout the NLDS, Don Mattingly made the call today to bench the slugger in favor of Andre Ethier. The changes came as Blue needed to get a win in order to force a winner-take-all Game 5 at Chavez Ravine. Donnie Baseball also decided to start Clayton Kershaw on just 3 days' rest. And Kersh was money, striking out 9 Cardinals through 6 innings, not allowing a hit until the 4th. Dodgers were up 1-0 in the 6th inning when Juan Uribe doubled that with a swing of the bat. The single over the second baseman, bringing around Hanley Ramirez from second base. Things came unglued in the dreaded 7th inning again. With the two runners on, Matt Adams crushes the Kershaw pitch to the bullpen in right field. The 3-run shot gives St. Louis a 3-2 lead. That lead held to the 9th. Dodgers had the tying run on second, but Carl Crawford rounds out to second base, ends the inning, ends the series. That's it. Once again, the Cardinals and the Dodgers end the Dodgers season, winning 3-2, taking the series 2-1.
Is there anybody better that when you, even on short rest and even at that, where he was at that point, Holiday hits the ball barely out of the reach of D, and Peralta hits the ball, hits off Hanley's glove, and then we leave a curveball there. We're talking at that point 3 hitters.
After a disastrous end to last season, the Clippers are ready to build on last year's record-setting campaign. Lob City put up the most regular season wins in franchise history, but again found themselves out of the playoffs before the conference finals. Armed with a new owner and some more talent on the roster, the Clips know what they're looking forward to when the real games start.
I want to win. I really do. I think we have the team to do it. We have the coaching staff to do it. We have the organization to do it. So now it's just about a little bit of luck, staying healthy, and I mean, having most of the team back, basically all the main guys for the most part, except for a piece here or there.
We obviously have still a lot of stuff to work on, but just having that foundation, having the familiarity with our coaching staff and our sets and defensive principles will hopefully help us in the long run.
We will have your Clippers highlights as well as all your baseball highlights coming up on Eyewitness News at 11.
Nearly 15 years after voters first chose a park over adding a new airport, the Great Park project is finally getting underway. But Eyewitness News Orange County reporter Greg Lee says while the shovels are finally hitting the dirt at the former El Toro Marine Base, the controversy is not over yet.
Construction vehicles sat at the former El Toro Marine Base, ready to demolish miles of runway. It's the first stage of a $250 million project funded by 5 Point Communities. As part of an agreement with the city of Irvine, 5 Point will develop 688 of Great Park's nearly 1,300 acres. The first stage will be a 176-acre sports park.
It'll have the sports facilities, it'll have a golf course, it'll have a lot of different landscaping, agriculture area. And this potentially could become the largest sports complex in the country.
A major step for a project that dates back to 1999 when voters chose to put in a park rather than an airport. The Great Park will also be the site of Orange County's first state veteran cemetery. Governor Jerry Brown met with veterans at the site today after signing legislation giving 125 acres of the park to the cemetery.
I'm very proud to be here to honor veterans who live here in Orange County.
Despite all the activity at Great Park, its development is still a divisive issue. An ongoing audit is investigating the nearly $200 million spent by the city in the early stages of planning. Plans some city leaders say have strayed from the original vision.
Well, I'm concerned that the Great Park has been negotiated into a developer's park instead of a people's park.
Planning Commissioner Guido is concerned about 10,000 homes being built on the land, as well as thousands of square feet of commercial property. Mayor Pro Tem Jeff Lalaway disagrees and says this is exactly what the city needs.
There's a lot of politics in play here, frankly, and I think we need to do what's best for Irvine and for our residents, and to get the Great Park moving.
A preliminary report on an audit on the Great Park is set to be released next week. The first stage of this sports park should be completed by early 2015. Reporting in Irvine, Greg Lee, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Morning straight ahead here at 8:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. New information about an air tanker that crashed while fighting a fire near Yosemite National Park, and a close call for a police officer trying to direct traffic. News stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. That is our report for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. Law & Order SVU is next here on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com. See you tomorrow night at 8 right here on LA56.